Hello, everybody. I'm Jamie Dawn, your revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of November 7th through the 14th. It may bleed over a little bit into the following week as well, because the month of November has a amount of intensity to it, at least as we are working with a lot of Scorpio energy. We have the Sun, Mars, Mercury in Scorpio, Venus now in Capricorn. And she takes on a more serious approach to things when she's in Capricorn. Venus being our planet of love and beauty, harmony, relationships, finances, values. And in Capricorn, it's really about achieving things. It's about taking it on in a way that allows us to feel as though we're maybe a little bit more professional, put together. Image is important. We may be attracted to older people or more mature ways of doing things. So there's some real benefits here with Venus being in Capricorn. And she's going to stay in Capricorn for quite some time because she'll retrograde in the month of January. I'll talk more about that, obviously, as it gets closer. But I'm just putting some pins on the map for us. Now, right now, Venus is also making a natural sextile to Scorpio and all that energy there. And what that can offer us with the sextile is that opportunities can flow, opportunities to check in. What is it that I really value? Or how can I take a more a mature approach, if you will, to whatever this Scorpio emphasis is for us as individuals or as a collective. And what we're looking at is the deeper, more penetrating energy and emotions that Scorpio offers. And anybody who has a strong Scorpio emphasis in their chart, they understand that, loyalty is rewarded, betrayal is definitely cut off and punished. And that working with things like forgiveness and passivity is also something that we're being invited to do. There's an integration, a time of transformation that happens because here we are trying to form these really strong emotional bonds and maybe even trying to control some things through the emotional body because it helps us to feel as though we can actually have what we want. And there is a certain element of, we'll say, pouting that can happen if we don't get what we want during this time, or there's a feeling of rejection or a feeling that maybe we just aren't what we thought we were. And then we have to transform that and we have to face the truth. This is also a time when secrets come out. So if there's something hidden, something that maybe our intuition, because it's running at an all-time high, is firing away and it's telling us, okay, I met this person or I need to make this decision or I have this situation showing up and something feels a little bit off. Trust me, it may not be revealed in that moment, but over time, it will come up. And with all this Scorpio energy, it's most likely going to come up and out during this time. I want you to think of the Scorpio representation, if you will. We have Pluto, which is the modern ruler, and Mars being the traditional ruler. When you have these two power planets involved representing this sign, think of it like Pluto is the rotor-rooter or the drill that goes really deep into the core, right? And Mars is like emphasizing it and pounding it down and forcing it. And what happens very often is we go into these unknown spaces. And what happens when the unknown shows up? We're afraid because we don't have the answers. We feel, quote unquote, out of control. And Scorpio doesn't like to be out of control because, as I like to say, better the devil you know than the one you don't, right? And what we don't know has a tendency to scare us. And so the invitation this week is to really give ourselves permission to play in that unknown space, to check in, to anchor into what's my truth. Because our truths can change over time anyways. We know that based on information and experiences. We're not the same person today that we were yesterday. We're constantly transforming. So that's the part that we can anchor into is the present moment and who am I now and what is true for me in this moment. I think also another thing we're going to want to pay attention to is that we have a Mars canoodling with the sun. We also have Saturn canoodling with the moon, making this square on November 10th. And we're going to have Mercury also involved in this. What does all that mean? This week, we feel the energy leading up to these transits, to these aspects. And we're coming off of a new moon that was on the 4th. Hopefully, it was a good new moon for everybody, that you had a chance to withdraw, maybe to go in, or if you were connecting with others, that you really found out who you can trust, that there was intimacy, maybe new seeds of intention of being more vulnerable. That's all very scorpionic. Now, here we are. We've been, let's say, vulnerable. We'll use that as an example. And we've let our hearts basically be worn on our sleeve, right? And so in doing so, now what often happens when we're vulnerable? We have a tendency to feel sheepish, or we have a tendency to feel like, what if somebody rejects me or sees me as weak? And we know a lot of the work, especially that Brene Brown has done, vulnerability is actually real strength. And even before her research and work, we as human beings, if we've experienced it, we realize that, vulnerability also invites ownership. Venus in Capricorn is going to say, own your shit in order to be empowered. And that's what we're working with, is that when we feel powerless, that's the shadow side of Pluto, is that when we feel powerless, we very often disempower ourselves by not owning what it is that is true for us in that moment. So ownership gives us power. And so here we have this Mars and Saturn squaring off. We've got the Sun and Mercury also involved, canoodling with Mars, squaring off with Saturn and the Moon on the 10th. That often invites us to have this real serious tone, maybe a little depressive at times. So do watch the emotional body. And there could be conflict when we're dealing with Saturn, we're dealing with authority figures. The Sun is also a representation of authority. And when you have this square going on, there could be a battle, a power of will that shows up, a battle of the wills. And it may be internal. Maybe you're fighting, within yourself. Like, I have an authority, I have an answer, I need to be disciplined here. But I also need, that's the Moon, I need to have my ideas heard, or I need to be part of something bigger and I don't know how to do it. Or maybe we find ourselves frustrated because we are passionate about something with Mars here, and we want to speak about it with Mercury here, and we want to make sure that people understand it. That we want to make sure that they are getting us, that they're on our side. That's the Sun, Mars, and Mercury in Scorpio. But it's squaring off with this aloof and detached Saturn Moon in Aquarius. And so people may not take it very seriously. And you're like, I'm trying to get serious about this. I'm so passionate, but yet there's resistance. And so what do? You soften. You capitalize on the feminine aspect of Scorpio that says, let me be like water. Let me flow. Let me see if there's a way in which I can communicate what I'm passionate about, and I can put in the practices and the discipline that I need in order to master what I need to master. And if others line up with it, great. If they don't, I'm just going to keep on keeping on, or I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to wait. I think that's one of the things. I'm going to be vulnerable since we're working with Scorpio and being vulnerable. I have a tendency to think really fast, to move very fast, to be very quick. I'm a heavily influenced cardinal chart, if you will. And so I have a tendency to start things very quickly. And it doesn't give a lot of time for people to catch up or even to get in front. And oftentimes it makes people feel as though they're left out, or that they just can't keep up, or it's like, all right, Jamie's just going to do her thing. And so this has been a beautiful opportunity for me to sit back and to really refine this. First, I have to own that about myself. Yep, I do that. And I watch myself over and over and over again miss opportunities to include others who just want to be included. And it's so much more fun when you're with others that you like and they like you, and you're working towards the same goals and the same kind of ideas and all that sort of thing. So it's working me. And I'm just going to keep allowing it. And sometimes I will do really well at it, and other times I'm going to suck royally. And those of you who want to call me out on it, just be kind. That's all I ask. If you see me doing it, just be kind, because rejection sucks. And you know what? That's also part of what we may be working with during this week is that there may be certain projects or relationships or ideas that we have that get shut down or get rejected. And I have to tell you, there is nothing worse than rejection, at least for me. I hate it. But if we can be patient, if we can capitalize on this square, the squares are about tension and it creates growth, right? And if we can just be patient, plod along, get, the things done that we need to get done, create safety for ourselves. Because the other thing with Scorpio energy is we're learning about trust and intimacy, and we can't really trust if we don't feel safe. So we're working with, where do I feel safe with myself? Can I trust myself? And then who can I trust externally? Whether it's at work or whether it's personal, whatever it might be, we need each other. Whether you like it or not, some of us can be introverts and some of us are like, forget the world. I'm just going to do my thing. If you don't like it, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, great. I get it. I've been there. But I can tell you, we need each other. We don't live on an island. So let's connect. And with Mercury squaring off with Saturn during this time, that means that our minds are going to work hard. And so here's the other thing. We're going to be looking at commitments. What commitments are we really making? And we understand too that with these commitments, and I'm going to say this, I'm sort of going off track for a second. With our commitments, it's really important to look at where we're overcommitting, but also who we're committing to, what we're committing to, the investment that we're making, and making sure we have the resources, that we have the emotional capacity, the mental capacity, and spiritual capacity in order to fulfill those commitments. Those are the things that we're going to be looking at. My little tangent that I was going to run off on was really about how I have a tendency to be the yes girl. If you ask me to do something, normally I say yes if I can, and if I can't, if in that moment I don't have what I need to say yes, if you will, I'll just say yes anyways and figure out how to fulfill that commitment. Something else I have to refine. And so if you want to join me in this practice this week, it's really going to be about checking in first with yourself. Do I have the resources, time, energy, money, whatever it might be, people? That's the physical. Do I have the mental, emotional? Have I done my work? Or do I need to take time out for myself? And do I have the spiritual capacity? Do I have the practices? Do I have the awareness, the self-awareness? We talk a lot about leadership in my circle, and I do a lot of coaching with leaders. And one of the things about leadership is really being self-aware, knowing who you are. That's one of the greatest traits of a good leader, that you can look in the mirror and you can say, this is what I do well, this is what I don't do well, and I have some blind spots, so I need a third party to help me out. Those are the kind of things that we're invited into in this week. Now, I'm going to talk relationship because everybody's interested in relationships, whether it's personal or professional, but mostly romantic, because that's, human beings. It feels good to be in love. It feels good to connect with somebody that you call your person, and you just have that deep and meaningful time together, and you have those little secrets that are just between the two of you, or, your little inside jokes, or maybe you've rolled up your sleeves and you fought a battle together, and, all of that sort of thing. We're in a make and break time. The month of November is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, because the month of September or October kept us a little bit in that liminal in between space with Mercury and Libra and retrograding. And Libra does have a tendency to see both sides of everything, three sides really. And so now we're in this place where it's like, okay, either shit or get off the pot, as they say, and make a choice, make a decision. We're tired of the in between. So this is sort of a make or break time. And during this week in particular, there could be some distance or some separation that has happened between you and someone you're interested in or somebody you're partnered with. And that can create some, depression, or it can create missing somebody, or, maybe there's a separation literally that has happened between you and someone. And that was appropriate. Maybe you ended a relationship or they ended it with you. The pain is there, but now it's time to move forward. It's time for healing. And with Mercury and Mars canoodling, I feel as though Mercury is going to energize Mars by saying it's time to just take action. It's time to make this decision. And there's no holds barred. This is a go big or go home. Let's get this shit done. Let's move forward. Now, the thing we have to be careful of is that we don't get defensive or too aggressive when we're trying to communicate, this is what I need, this is what I want. And while it may not line up with your idea or whatnot, this is important. And I see a lot of people negotiating contracts. I see a lot of us having conversations that are really deep, and they're going to be strong. I really feel like we're going to be looking at boundaries, because the other thing with Scorpio is boundaries, healthy boundaries, but also extremes. And so it's going to be one of those of it's either this or that. There's a line in the sand that gets drawn. Now, with Mercury and Mars canoodling, there's also a tendency to lose our temper, to get into arguments, or to think that maybe we know better than somebody else. And I would be careful about knowing better than somebody else. You know what's best for you, but you don't necessarily know what's best for them or the whole situation. So asking deep questions. Mercury and Scorpio invites us to go deep into the questioning, into the conversations. Have those tough conversations this week, but do just watch how it can have a tendency to create tension that is forceful, and aggressive with Mars here. Now, the gift of it is that if you need to have those deeper, more, I'll say bigger conversations, Mars and Mercury canoodling can help you stay with it. It can help you say, I love you and I'm not going anywhere. So if you're looking to bond stronger with somebody, and especially in a romantic relationship, it gives you an opportunity to say, listen, I don't care what shit we're working with. I'm yours, you're mine. We're in this together. I'm not giving up. This is a don't give up kind of energy. So if there's something that you're fighting for, keep fighting. Keep going. And if you need to take a moment, a time out to regroup, then take a time out and then come back to it, because this is a great time for a good debate or just to get to the heart of the matter. Now, some of us may be dealing with a secret that bubbles up during Scorpio season. It often does. And with Venus and Capricorn, there's that sextile, the opportunity to face the secret. Now, the secret could be something good. It could be hidden money that you didn't know about, creating opportunities, right? It could be that you have been groomed for a particular position at work and that suddenly you're being offered behind the scenes. And you have to decide, do I want this? Do I really want this? It could be that you are dating somebody and you declare your love and they go, oh yeah, I've been in love with you for a long time. Those are all good things, right? Maybe you and your partner, if you're in a bonded relationship, that the secret that comes out could be, hey, I'm pregnant. Now, granted, we know the shadow side of secrets could be affairs. Those come up and out. It could be that there's been somebody in authority that has hidden something from you and kept you down and the opportunity's gone. I would like to focus more on the positive because, I have a tendency to do that. That's my Jupiter in Pisces. But if you are facing something negative, just know that that's where we reach in and we pull our support group, we wrap our arms around each other, we lean in, we lift up, and we say, you're in this, and I'm here with you. Now, we have a Sun trine Neptune as well this week. And when that happens, it can create greater empathy. It can create greater sense of healing and understanding and compassion. And that's what we really need during this time, that we're all going to go through something. There's a transformative quality. There's death and dying. We associate Scorpio with death because of the transformation and transition that often happens during this time. And when we get new information or we have a new experience, we're transformed. I had an experience not too long ago. I went to the California coast and it was so magical. And some of the ahas that dropped in, some of the experiences that were had, I will never forget. I will never be able to duplicate them. And I will never be able to negate what I experienced. I am a different person today because of those experiences. And those experiences energized me. They allowed me to recognize the gifts and the Power was a good word. The magic and the power in another human being. And to watch that come alive in a way that was just primal, I'm still in awe. I'm just still in awe. So anyways, so there's that. Also, I will say that with this Sun trine Neptune, faith and morals can help us stay true to our purpose. It can help us stay true to what energizes us. If you feel a little lackluster, if you feel as though there wasn't something that was inspiring you, or that you weren't just like, sort of meh, well, the Sun trine Neptune can energize you by coming back to, what do I believe? What's my faith? What are my morals? And energizing those even more. Also, I can't emphasize enough, really pay attention to your psychic hits. They're just going to keep flowing. Pay attention to your dreams. Pay attention to this creative energy that will just be flowing into you, and then channel it. So we talk about this square happening with the Sun, Mercury, and Mars to Saturn. If we channel the tension into creative, compassionate, healing opportunities, you're going to find, we can all find, that we can actually be of great benefit, not only to others, but even to ourselves. You know, the vows that we say at Mystery School, the 9 gates that I belong to: I vow to you conscious speech, purity of heart, compassionate action. And this is the vow that I make not only to you, but to myself. How can I really have compassionate action? How can I take compassionate action? How can I be pure of heart? How can I treat myself with that purity of heart? And how can I speak consciously to myself? These are the things that we can work with. So continue to allow yourself not only to believe in love, believe in yourself, believe in life, that life has your back. That, you know, I said this before, life doesn't need us. It's going to flow through us regardless. We can either stop and consternate it and get in the way, or we can just flow with it. And that when the negative shows up, we withdraw, we retreat, we heal, we work with it. And when the positive shows up, the masculine, then we go for it, we channel it, and we become assertive. And if we can stop fighting against the cycles, if we can stop resisting these ebbs and flows, we're going to find that we truly are nature itself, and that life can flow, and that we can enjoy it maybe just a little bit more. So I'll finish the video by just saying this. If you are looking to bond emotionally and strongly with another human being, we can talk about sex, because everybody associates Scorpio with sex too. But really, it's about trust and intimacy. Yeah, you can be the hit it and quit it kind of person, and it has no meaning. But I really would invite us all to look at it from the lens of, can I trust myself, and can I really allow myself to be vulnerable with another human being, and take not the acts of intimacy so seriously, even though you should. I have a belief you should, but to honor, to be sacred, to let that space be carved out for sacredness that allows you to feel safe, and allows you to open, and allows you to enjoy the transformation that happens when you're deeply connected to another human being. And it doesn't just have to be physical. Sometimes it's just your words. I don't know how many times I've had really deep and meaningful conversations that just connect me to that individual on an intimate level. So those are the kind of things that we'll be working with this week. All right, you guys, you know, if you need me, I'm here. I will put just another little pin on the map for those of you who don't know. I am serving in my role as staff director from November 5th through the 17th. I will not be available during those times. However, I will be happy to take your thoughts, your prayers, whatever it is, your offerings with me. And I will also hold you in my heart, and I look forward to connecting with you when I return. And please know that if I'm not available and you need help, please find somebody that you can trust and feel safe with. And remember, trust is built over time and testing. So test some people out. If you're not, again, psychic energy, intuition's at an all-time high. If you try somebody and they don't work out, or it doesn't feel right, try somebody else. Don't give up. This is a don't give up energy. And sometimes we just need a little added support to give us that extra boost because we're exhausted. I know that. All of us have been exhausted over the last couple of years with COVID and everything else. So let your support system lean in on you. All right, I'll stop talking. I love you guys. I hope you have a great week. Please come find me, jamiedawn.com, like, subscribe, share, comment, and I look forward to connecting with you. Have a good week, everyone.